Wasn't that a reality check, eh? How you doing, everybody? Tim Drudge here once again, View from the South Stands, coming to you on Sunday afternoon after, the day after, of course, the Toronto FC 2012 Major League Soccer home opener. And the first game that saw Aaron Vinter try and figure out a way for a full 90 minutes of how to play without Torsten Frings in the lineup. Suffice it to say, that was an embarrassing game yesterday. It was a big disappointment, and it doesn't really engender a significant amount of confidence going into a game on Wednesday against the champions of Mexico for the CONCACAF Champions League first leg semifinal, a place that TFC may not find itself once again for many, many years. A lot of troubling things came out of that game on Saturday. That I think really make it difficult to see where this team is going to go, at least in the short term. Obviously, Torsten Frings, it's been said by me, it's been said by a lot of other people, he is probably the smartest player we've ever had on this team. He makes everybody around him better, and it was a real test of the players that are still on the field to see how they could actually manage the game, at least from a defensive perspective, with him absent. Tactically, it was pretty interesting what was happening. When Frings plays the sweeper role and basically acts as a third center back, that often allowed the fullbacks, Eckersley and Morgan, in games early on the season, particularly against Los Angeles, to bound up the field, give the team a bit more width, a bit more manpower down the flanks, and create some space for players like Koevermans and Johnson and Plata in the middle of the park. They weren't roaming yesterday. They were actually being held back. It was a pretty rare foray to see Eckersley and or Morgan take any significant time in the offensive side of the park. You had Dunfield and Julian de Guzman, and much more on de Guzman in a moment, actually playing the Frings sort of role, the defensive spine of the team in front of the center backs, which didn't work very well at all. You had Luis Silva basically acting as a creative midfield of one to try to service the ball up wide. And this comes to the other tactic, which was playing Reggie Lamb yesterday in place of Danny Koevermans up top, with Ryan Johnson in the middle, who's been playing very well, and of course João Plata on the left flank as well, trying to find a bit of pace and a bit of width that Eckersley and Morgan, playing back, weren't able to give yesterday. It all came down, that approach, in my opinion, all came down to Julian de Guzman stepping up and having a good game. And he didn't. I'm being very, very diplomatic here. He was missing in action yesterday. And I think it's pretty fair to say at this point that he's been a bust. He's been a flop. And he's been a disappointment of significant magnitude for this team. Here's a guy, a Canadian international, a well-respected player who's played at the highest levels in Europe, who's played well at the highest levels in Europe, comes back to his hometown, to his home city. He's on a big wage. He's a designated player, and you can probably count on one hand the games in his 3 years here in Toronto that he's actually been a significant contributing factor to a result. I think he's a flop. I really think so. And I would be shocked if he's here either after the summer transfer window or here at the end of the season. I think the sooner that both teams part ways, the better it's going to be for everybody. Now, I like to call them sophisticates. There's a certain element of the Toronto sort of soccer media, internet sort of punditry group out there that might say I'm a little bit of I'm looking at it a little lowbrow. I may not know as much about the game as they do, and I don't see what a player of Julian de Guzman's quality brings, because it's not just goals, of course. There's other intangibles that he brings to the park. And do you know what? You might be right. I may not be this soccer dilettante or this sophisticate, but I can tell you right now that an argument supporting Julian de Guzman, I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear what others have to say trying to defend the absolute crap that we saw from him yesterday. He was nowhere to be seen. He was there in the beginning. He was loping around in midfield. He wasn't creative. He wasn't sticking in. He wasn't showing any leadership. He wasn't making those around him any better. He was actually making them worse. And there, I've said it. I don't think he's the answer for finding somebody to replace Torsten Frings. I think Terry Dunfield had a much better game than Julian de Guzman, and I wouldn't be surprised on Wednesday if de Guzman is riding the pines and Terry Dunfield is going to be relied upon to be that defensive stalwart in midfield. TFC now finds itself in a pretty unenviable position of being 0-2, but thank God they play in the East. You've got DC, who's got 1 point in 3 games. You've got Montreal, that's got 1 point in 3 games. You've got Philly, that's got 0 points. You've got New York, that's got 0 points. And you've got Toronto FC, that's got 0 points. So thank God they're not playing in the Western Conference. We get to see a lot of these teams in the East, and we get to see Columbus, who actually won on the weekend. We get to see them. They won 1-0, I think it was. We get to see them on Saturday at BMO Field. That's always a fun-filled, charged atmosphere at the stadium, and hopefully the team can actually feed off the crowd and the atmosphere. I don't know. What we saw yesterday doesn't bode well for Wednesday. I wouldn't be surprised if we see something from a tactical perspective different than we saw this time. Maybe it's going to just come down to personnel, but I don't think we're going to see the same starting 11 this time that we saw actually yesterday. The fans yesterday, and I've got some video that I'll be including here as well from the stands yesterday. The fans, early on, got behind the team and were still into it into the second half. But when the goals, the Salinas goal and then the Wondolowski goal, which was egregious, it was really bad, especially seeing de Guzman just, jogging back, trying to track back, and Asaval getting taken to the cleaners, and Wondolowski having all kinds of time on the ball to do his thing. A guy who scored 30-odd goals in the last 2 years. It was very, very disheartening to actually see that. What Winter is going to do on Wednesday, I don't know. I think we can hope for a couple of things that might give TFC some hope. Obviously, Danny Kuvermans, I think, will be starting. He was rested for the first half of this game yesterday. I think, obviously, seeing some players that we haven't seen before. We might see probably not their best starting 11 on the pitch on Wednesday, they being Santos Laguna. Generally what they do is they try to come here and stay close and then take care of business back at home. So TFC has to go at them, and hopefully they'll have a chance to do something offensively as long as they can, fix some of the major leaks that they have on the back line. And maybe Milos Kosic can steal them another game. Again, remains to be seen. But this is pretty important. It may be a long time before Toronto FC ever makes it back to the semifinals of the Champions League. It may be a long time before TFC ever finds itself this close to winning a trophy other than the Voyageurs Cup for a long time. So it's important that they come out and they play hard and they at least try and do something for the fans as far as building some momentum up that was really, really taken away from the team. It didn't really feel like the Los Angeles game at the Rogers Center felt like an eon ago, not like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. It felt like it was 6 months ago compared to how disappointing the team was on the field yesterday. But hey, you live to fight another day, and the team lives to fight for the Champions League slot. They play Santos Laguna on Wednesday. I got the whole day off on Wednesday, which is going to be pretty cool. And of course they play Wednesday night. I'll have a video blog up on Wednesday night as well after the game, taking it apart, and hopefully TFC is still in with a chance in Mexico next week. We've got Columbus at home next Saturday, and then of course it's off to La Belle Provence, and I'm actually taking myself down to Montreal. It's going to be pretty awesome with thousands of fans at the Olympic Stadium. It's going to be a lot of fun as well. So let's toast something, get the taste of that garbage out of our mouths from yesterday. moving on. Yes, it was a bad loss. Yes, it's a concern. But hey, at least we're playing in the Eastern Conference. And there's going to be some bad teams, I think, making the playoffs this year from the East, at least so far, based on what we've seen. So that's it, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. I always appreciate your comments, and we'll talk to you soon. And we'll see you, of course, on the blog on Wednesday after the Champions League semifinal first leg. Talk to you soon. Cheers.